Alright, we're back looking at another coding bat. This time we're going to look at sameEnds. So sameEnds says, return true if the group of n numbers at the start and end of the array are the same. So for example, if I say n equals 2, I want to check the first two letters. If n equals 3, I'm checking the first three letters. Now keep in mind too, as I go through this, not all of these I get on the first try. I have to take a couple tries too. So if you're going through these, you can't quite figure them out, that's okay. This is about practicing and trying to get it. Okay, so let's take a look. What we need to do is essentially loop through our array and see, okay, the first two, second two. There's a couple ways you can do this. I think one way to me that I thought of was, put these first number, so if it's 1, put 1 into an array, put 2 into an array, check the first two arrays, check the last two arrays, and see if they match. But I think there's actually a simpler way to do this, and again, it's going to be involving a loop, but we're actually not going to loop through the array. We actually just want to loop through the first number of items and compare them to the last number of items. So if it says 3, we want to loop through the first 3 items and compare it to the last 3 items, and that's all we need to do. So let's do that with an array, or with a loop. So again, for loop I equals 0. Now it's going to be I less than, not the whole loop, the whole array, it's going to be I less than that length right there. So len and I++. So again, we only need to, if it says 3, we only need to loop through our first 3 numbers, then we compare those to our last 3 numbers. So I need to compare 5 to 13, 6 to 5, or to 6, and, I'm sorry, and 5 to 5 and 6 to 6. Okay, so how we can do this is another if. So if nums I, that's my first value. Now let's look at this 5 here. I want to compare that to the last number. So how do I get that? So I'm going to say if nums 5 is not equal to nums, I want nums.length, and in this case I want to subtract 1 because that's a number 1 there, or what I'm essentially subtracting is that length. Okay, so how do I get there? So if, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so my length is 7. I actually want to compare the first one to the 6th one, or to index 6, and so it's length minus 1, so 7 minus 1. Here I have 2. I want to compare 5, what's in index 0, to this 5 here, which again, 7 numbers minus 2, that's in position 5, so I can take nums.length minus this input here. Now that works for the first comparison, but now the second comparison I need to move this index over 1. And so how do I get that? Well, I essentially now add in that I. And remember, the first one, I is equal to 1, or to 0, and so I'm not adding anything in. The second one is equal to 1, I add in, and that's kind of what I get. Okay, so I do that. If they are not equal, then I return false. Otherwise, I'm going to return true. Let's give that a go, and we're good to go. And again, remember, I didn't actually solve this one right the first time. I had a mistake in it. If you have mistakes the first couple times, keep trying. And if you can't get them, then come check out my videos. But hopefully you figured it out and are following along with what I did. Thanks.